Feels like we just did this, but all right. Well, what did Jason Latour do? Um, the continual exposure of the problems of the comic book industry continue. Hey everybody, this is Perch. None of this gives me any pleasure, and I think somebody wrote me a note saying, "Ah, you seem happy that these stuff's coming out." I guess I'm happy that yeah, well, not happy. Happy is definitely the wrong word. I am hopeful that at some point, as this stuff comes out, we can actually get to a reasonable solution rather than having there be this constant undercurrent, which I think gets very, very big. And I'll do a separate video discussion about that. But Jason Latour, he is a writer and artist, and he's probably most known lately for Spider-Gwen, but he has Southern Bastards. He's done quite a few things, worked on Wolverine, Daredevil, and he's been in the industry for a while. I think for certainly at least roughly 2002, 2000. He did something with B. Clay Moore a while back, and then he did Scalped, which is what a lot of people know, and something that certainly I liked Scalped a lot. And he's in his 40s, and some news has come out today, very similar to the Warren Ellis situation, where he has basically been accused of, and here's where I need to be clear. So this is allegations, they're accusations. And none of this is a crime, meaning there's not jail time here. So a lot of this becomes what you believe. It's subjective to you, and I'm trying to frame it very carefully because different people are going to have different lines. So basically, the nutshell is that he's been accused of basically going to conventions or going to places where there's a lot of people with comics, and hitting on women, and maybe hitting on women in a more forceful way. And when I say forceful, I don't mean physical force. I mean the girl says she's not that interested, but he kind of persists. So you look at this kind of like in the world of a like the guy, the guy in the stereotype of the movie where the guy in the bar is hitting on the attractive woman, and the attractive woman's clearly not interested, and he just keeps kind of harassing, and it turns into harassment, keeps hitting on her, keeps buying drinks, keeps making comments, follows her around the bar, etc. And then eventually somebody steps in. Back in the 80s, a stronger guy would step in and throw the guy out of the bar. In current movies, the woman herself would kick the guy's butt and throw him out of the bar. So it's a little bit like that. And the reason why this is somewhat of a complicated situation to talk about is if you've been to cons, and I've been to many, and I've referenced this in other videos, and you go into bars, you will see people trying to pick up on you, pick up each other all over the place. And so one of the things when I read all these things, I have a frown on my face because I'll see other male writers, including ones who are posting this kind of male code of conduct thing, say, this is unacceptable, we shouldn't do this. But I've seen them do this at shows. Like I've seen this is not uncommon. And when I say it's not uncommon, I don't mean, hey, this is cool, everybody should do it. I mean, it's not uncommon. So if we're going to solve this, or if this is something that we want to solve, we're going to have to look at it as a bigger, thing to deal with than just kind of one-off, hey, Warren Ellis is bad, hey, Jason Latour is bad, etc. Now, a couple notes here. Jason Latour is an independent contractor, as are all these creators, really. And so it's not like Jason Latour is a executive at Marvel. He's like a staff employee, and he's able to go to conventions and say, hey, baby, do you want to work at Marvel? Here, come hang out with me. It's as an independent contractor, he has less power than that. In basically the power he's banking on is his celebrity, his name. That you recognize my name. I work in comics. I'm a bigger name. Therefore, come hang with me. Why that's important is it means it's a much harder problem to solve. it means the publishers can kind of wash their hands of any of this and say, well, it's, we're not saying that, they don't work for us. And that's what they do. This is the have your cake and eat it too of independent contracting with comic publishers. Is basically they're able to say, hey, this guy doesn't work for us, so we don't really have any control. It's legally hard for us to tell them what to do. But if there's enough noise or fuss about it, we just won't give them more work. And that's what happens. Jason Latour, like Warren Ellis, is all, no doubt about it, is going to go away for a while. And unfortunately, that's the result. And I say unfortunately because not because what he did was or wasn't pervy. I'm saying unfortunately because where do you want this to go exactly, and who's going to step up and take responsibility? There's some people in the industry. Again, I'll do another video on this. Trying to take responsibility for themselves and say we as collective men need to be better. I think that's fine. I mean, it's good to take personal responsibility, go nuts. But at the end of the day, this needs to be something that the publisher drives. It's not going to be successful if it's just kind of one-off people. So the weird part about Latour's comment, this is where I'll get some disagreement certainly in the comments, I know, is that you either you look at this and you say, that's harmless behavior, and if she really didn't like it, she should not have given him her number, or not she shouldn't have let him know where she was staying. I mean, there's a lot of should-haves. There's a lot of looking back on it, I'm sure things could be different. Or you're going to look at this and say, I've been in that situation. I've had somebody creep on me, and it makes me very uncomfortable, and I really don't like it, and I'm pissed. And so where you fall in that line is up to you. I think this is the key that a lot of people struggle with, is different people are going to have different ways they view this. Is any of this a reason to be canceled out of comics? No, I don't think so. In fact, even the woman who did the accusation said it's not her intention to cancel Jason, although he will get canceled. I mean, I think anyone who's writing this knows what result is going to happen. And as soon as she did, then, Alex DeCampi, Tess Fowler, Rand C., various people came out of the woodwork saying, oh yeah, I know this about Jason Latour. Absolutely. And here's the part, that's the part that really sticks with me. And I am annoyed that these things come up and somebody kind of, let's assume for the moment it's all on the level. The person is not doing this for any kind of self-promotion or anything. They just decide, you know what? The time's come, I need to tell my story. And they do that. Okay. I'm not in that person's head. I don't know why they decide to come forward. Let's assume, fine. Why is it then that there's this always the same dozen people or so that tag on and say, oh yeah, I knew about this. Oh, I knew about this too. Yeah, this is terrible. I've seen this a bunch of times. It's creepy. Like, can we just hold a virtual convention and we just get it all out now? Like, why is it that it takes some relatively unknown person having to make a statement, and then all these named people come in and say, oh yeah, I've known about this forever. It's like, if you've known about it forever, you're culpable. I mean, you know what I mean? It's not okay. I think that question needs to be asked. As long as we're going in and we're really looking about this behavior of saying, hey, here's a guy who offered, come to my room for free comics, which is, by the way, that's a worst pickup line ever. I'm just saying. But come to my room for free comics. If you know somebody's doing that and you're offended by it, then staying silent is actually not okay. You can't wait for somebody else to take that first step and say, oh yeah, I knew about this all along. I mean, if it bothers you and you want to make a fuss about it, you need to actually, it just bugs me. It bugs me because it's the same people every single time who are like, oh yeah, I've seen this all the time. It's like, okay, let me look up that blog, that report you gave to the publisher, that notice. Let me look at, oh, it doesn't exist. So you didn't say anything. Why? And again, these kinds of stories, they're not crimes. Jason's not going to jail or any of that. So, if people have a right to either tell the story or not have the story, they have a right. But, and I agree we should support each other. If somebody, if you want to support somebody for their account, great. But when you get to the third or the fourth person in a month, And we're like, oh yeah, I knew about that person. Yeah, I knew about that person too. It's like, okay. I mean, again, I started this video off by saying I've been to a lot of cons. I've seen this behavior everywhere. For the industry, do we want to name names? And some people have asked for that, by the way, in the videos. Why don't I just post a giant list of names? We can. Let me know in the comments below. I guess, but if I'm going to post a name of all the people who do goofy, weird behavior at cons, I mean, I'm just bracing you. That's 50, 60% of the industry. Just saying. Pretty much you can pick any name out, flip a coin, and heads or tails. That's about the odds. That doesn't seem productive to me. As I've mentioned in other videos, I'll mention it briefly here, and I'll talk about it again tomorrow probably, is if you really want this solved, then you're going to have to do what other mature industries do, and you're going to have to solve it at the publisher level, at the higher level. But they have no real interest in doing that because the idea of having independent contractors means they don't have to pay insurance, it can keep people at arm's length, they don't have to make any strong commitments, they don't have to take any responsibility. At the end of the day, that's it. They don't have to take responsibility. And until they do, this is going to continue. So that's what Jason Latour did. What do you say? Is he over? Should he be run out of the industry? Where's the line for you? And please, I would ask people to be respectful in the comments. Everybody's going to have a different line. That's okay. It is personal in a lot of cases. Hey, like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter or Facebook. Although I always feel really weird asking for that at a video like this. So maybe, I'm here to give information out. I'm not here to gain an audience. And maybe make people think. That's the goal. Anyway, thanks for listening.